always doubt yourself. I would say always doubt yourself, because not in a way that is negative to yourself, but question yourself and say, is this the right thing? But don't see that doubt as a negative.
Thanks ever so much for agreeing to be part of this International Women's Day project, Josie.
Nice.
Just a bit of background why I wanted to do it is a couple of reasons. Throughout the course of my career, I've met and been inspired by some amazing female leaders who have helped me mentored me and helped develop me and who I am today within my journey. So I kind of wanted to speak to women in business because everyone's journey is so different and everyone's faces different problems or comes across different challenges within life. So I want to capture that. But also when I started my career probably 23 years ago, and I've had 2 children, went through a divorce and kind of went part-time. So only recently, when I kind of hit 40, I've remarried, I've got another child, so I've got 3 children now. I kind of thought, you know what, I want to go back to full-time work. I want to get my career back on track, which I have done. I've been full-time since April last year, but kind of now I'm thinking, how do we juggle it all? It's hard to do, meet friends and family and have the pressures of work, but I know it can be done. And I think this is an important message that I kind of want to get out to the younger generation, that we can do all this, we can be successful in our career. Diversity in the business is now essential, and we kind of are all human, and we just need to help each other along the way. So do you want to kind of introduce yourself, Josie, and tell us a bit about your background?
Yeah, sure. So I think first and foremost, 40 is the new 30 and 30 is the new 20, as we know.
Totally agree.
Excellent. So I'm Josie. I'm managing director of a company called WoolCool, and we are female-led. So my mum started the business, and I work with my sister. So in terms of kind of flying the flag for the women, and we make insulated packaging, but using sheep's wool. So our products typically used for the shipment of, say, meat, dairy and fish, etc., and also in the pharmaceutical sector for Botox, insulin, vaccines, antibiotics and generic medicines. Brilliant. So we're Staffordshire based as well, so we're based in Stone, so very local, and I was born here as well, so the area is very much close to my heart.
Absolutely brilliant. And then we've just talked about before we actually started filming is that you've sent products to Dubai, and the wool actually keeps it cold or warm, if you like, for 72 hours, did you say? Up to 72 hours, which is unbelievable.
Yeah, so we have a range, basically. So we have a range of boxes. So some of our customers will be shipping overnight, and it might just be they're shipping over to, say, Cheshire or wherever. And we've got other customers who are shipping all around the world. So Dubai, shipping to America, to Africa. So it depends on what people are sending. But we've got a range of boxes that do different performances. The best performing box we've got has achieved over 120 hours.
Oh, wow.
So we're still trying to do more and offer more products. But packaging isn't necessarily always seen as the most sexy thing, but our product, we think our product's pretty special in the market, and we are using a natural material. So from a sustainability standpoint, that's been really key, that we're trying to show people they can use natural materials and make a difference with the natural materials, and eliminate some of those less sustainable materials as well at the same time. Brilliant.
Absolutely fabulous. Really, really good. And just to... Obviously, our paths have crossed over the last 6 months, so this is why I wanted to invite you in. One being my husband, Rob. I think you've been on a few events with him and met him over the time. But also, Andy, our CEO, you used to go to school with. So really wanting to know if there's any secrets that I can kind of put in my back pocket.
I will have to get you some secrets at some point. I will make sure I see how much Andy pays me first.
Oh, fabulous.
And release some of those.
I love it. Brilliant. And then also you have a lot to do in Staffordshire with the Chamber of Commerce, and I know that we're actually, I don't know if you know this, we're actually sponsoring the International Women's Day at the Chamber of Commerce.
Oh, amazing.
So I'm not sure if you're going to be there, but
I think I'm due to be there, so hopefully,
so we're sponsors, so yeah, we'll be up on the stage, and we're going to hopefully show a bit of this video. So that'll be
walking
fun.
out the room at that point.
This is like me. And then also, we've just signed up. I don't know if you noticed, but we've just signed up for the Not Sports Day. We've got a team of 8 in.
Yes, we saw that. So thank you very much for that. Yeah,
you're very welcome.
Yeah.
There's some competitive people within our business, so yeah, we'll see.
Well,
so
it was
should
a
be
good
day.
one last year. It was we got some good competition out of it. We raised, I think it was £13,000 last year for charities.
Oh my gosh!
So this year we're trying to go bigger and bolder, and it's actually relevant for this discussion really. So it's a group of women from the area who've got together to try and raise funds for charities in the area. Brilliant. We've got a couple of different events coming up over the next 6 months to 12 months. One of them is the Sports Day. Brilliant. So we're flying the flag again for the women, but some fantastic businesses and business people and generally women in the area that want to do something different and raise funds for those charities.
Yeah, brilliant. And how many charities is there that they're going to be involved?
So for the Sports Day, I think there's 8 or 9.
Brilliant.
So the money split between those charities, and with the Sports Day, the idea was to have a diverse day. So, long story short, generally most of the days I've got, so I quite like golf and football. I'm quite happy to go and play golf and football at the days, and generally I tend to be the only girl. So we were sitting around talking about what event we wanted to do as our first event, and I said, I'd love to do an inclusive sports day, because for some reason, those sports tend to attract the guys, rightly or wrongly. Maybe it's generational, but it seems to be mainly boys. So we wanted to do something that we could have everyone there. So the idea of the Sports Day was to have something that's inclusive.
Brilliant.
That men and women and anyone can attend, any ability, and there's different elements. So there's some mental challenges, there's some physical challenges, and then the idea was then to have a diverse group of charities that the money would then go to.
Brilliant.
And then we're doing another event later in the year, which is like a ball event, and that will be for Dougie Mack.
Oh, fabulous.
So really exciting, and we'll keep everyone posted on those.
Yeah, it's going to be a very competitive day, I'm sure.
Yes, I'm very excited. I took part last year as well, and I definitely got very competitive. I have a very competitive streak, which I have to temper and things like that. I don't want to go kicking anyone that we supply or anyone. So.
I love it. It sounds like my house. We're all very competitive. It always ends up in tears, put it that way, with the games.
You usually win though, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, so I'm going to just ask a few questions now about obviously you're managing director here, and is it 11 years? I saw something on LinkedIn. 11 years, is that?
I like to pretend I'm still like 24, 25, but no, it's 11 years. I've been here 11 years now. So
absolutely amazing.
It's gone really quickly, and it's so scary how quickly time flies, isn't it?
Well, we've just been saying, haven't we? We feel like we were just still at school, so it's just crazy. Yeah. So yeah, brilliant. So okay, so looking back at your career, has it unfolded as you planned, or have you like oh, let me start that question again. Sorry. So looking back at your career, has your career unfolded as you planned, or has it become more organically into the role that you are today?
I would say my career has definitely not gone how I planned. I don't think I ever had a plan. I still joke and say I don't know what I want to do when I grow up, because I haven't grown up in my head. Anyone who knows me, you might think I run a business, but anyone who knows me knows I'm actually a child at heart. So I would say elements of it has. I've always wanted a job that would be challenging. I've always had a want to prove myself, going back to the point about football and golf, being the only girl at school. I was the only girl who played football, and I forced my way onto that team. Like, I like to be the person that's kind of challenging the boundaries. Brilliant. So if someone thinks one thing about me, if you like, and most people will underestimate your ability. So I quite like showing my ability to people. So I think I always wanted something that I could challenge myself and maybe prove myself. And I said to my boss before I joined WoolCool, give me a chance to fail. So give me a chance, and if I fail, and I'll hold my hands up. But at least give me the opportunity to give it a go. I love that saying. What a great way to look at it. Brilliant. And did you come into this business because you've just said about your mum? Did she give you the opportunity to come in and kind of help drive the business? So when I came into the business, I'd done 5 years at a different 4 or 5 years. 4 or 5 years at a different business, and that was in sales, and I did a bit of marketing, but mainly sales within that. And I was looking either for a progression there or to move on. And my mum was looking for someone to come and do sales. So she said to me, would you want to come in the business? And someone asked me, are you going in the business for yourself or for your mum? And I was like, I need to think about that. So I thought about it for a while. And when I could answer that question, which was I was doing it for myself, I said yes to my mum and thought I'll give it a go. And going back to that challenge thing, you know, we were we had 4 or 5 people in the office, and I could see the potential of the business. So I thought, well, you know, I'll put all my eggs in a basket. I'll go for it, and if it does well, it does well. If I don't do very well, I'll just accept I'm not very good at that, so I'll move on. So,
well, you're obviously smashing it.
Well, you know,
doing a really
try,
good job.
and I've got a really good team, and I have to say, you know, my mum and her partner Keith have been really supportive, and my sisters come in, and me and my sister work really well together. Got a lot of respect for my sister, so I always say I'm the face and she's the brains.
Oh, brilliant!
I didn't say
that.
beauty, I said brains and face.
I love
so
that.
yeah. So but we've got a really good working relationship, and I think that's really us and the team around us as well. We've got a really great team around us that really do that. So our successes are based on our team, not on me.
I love that. And there's no arguing with you and your sister then?
No.
Oh, that's good.
We're very different. So in terms of personalities, she's more like money and finance, and I'm more chatty.
Yeah.
So, well, she's very chatty too, but like I'm more out there in a sense. So we complement each other a bit like yin and yang.
Oh,
really.
brilliant.
So, yeah.
That's really good. That's lovely. Well, my sister works for my dad, and I've chose definitely not to go that way. I've kept it separate because I think me and my sister are very similar, so I don't think we'd work working together. But
how would you feel working with your dad?
I'm not sure. I don't know. Louise takes it really, really well. She takes he's in work mode a lot of the time, obviously at work, and he has to separate, and he's probably a little bit more harsh on Louise than anyone else because he do you know what I mean? He has to show that he's not favoritism or showing favoritism. So yeah, I'm not sure. Me and my brother both said that we wouldn't work for my dad, but I don't know. You never know.
I think what I find is it's that separation between that work and home. And it's knowing when you've got your work hat on and when you've got your home hat on. So I had a conversation with my mum quite early on and said, I'm talking to you as your MD, not as your daughter, or I'm talking to you as your daughter, not your MD. And I kind of had to, I got to the point where I got to a certain point where because the office was down like elsewhere than when it is now. And I used to go down like a windy road, and I used to get to the end of that road, and I used to switch off the daughter and switch on the MD mentally, or try to. It didn't work all the time. So that was quite... I always found that was, if I could articulate to her that that's what I was doing, it made it much easier in the conversations then.
It's funny you say that because that's exactly what Louise says. So she doesn't call my dad at work. She calls him Don.
Yeah, same.
And is that the same?
Yeah.
So yeah, because that's exactly what she says. It's work mode. And then when she leaves work, it's dad again.
It's weird though when you call them their name at home.
I know.
Sorry.
Don, I mean dad. Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, this next question actually leads into what we've just been talking about. But which female leaders have inspired you, and did their influence shape your goals?
So my mum and sisters. I've got 3 older sisters.
Have
so
you got
obviously,
3?
I've got 3. 2 are outside the business, and obviously one's in the business. I very much respect them, their career paths, what they've done. They've all done something very different, and we're all very different people. But I had really great role models growing up with those 3. And my mum, obviously, she was a leading lady in the sector. So she was in the packaging sector, which from I guess, back then it was very much male dominated, and I remember her telling me a story in the 80s when she went to get a bank loan. She had to take my dad with her because he was a man. That was it. That was literally, and that's in the 80s. And you think back to that, and you think, you know, I can't imagine. I couldn't take my partner. Well, my partner's not a man now, but I couldn't take my partner. You know, I couldn't imagine taking someone who's not have any relevance to the business. But so definitely family members, and then I would say the Queen.
Yeah.
Just because I think she's a great example of that kind of constant leadership.
100%.
And I just think over the years she's always kept like kind of a poker face, which is really difficult to do sometimes.
Totally agree.
Yeah. And I think, just there's one more one I would say, although not a female, I'd say also my dad, because he's obviously had women all around him, and he's always been a staunch feminist as well. So he's not a woman, but I've got to put him in there and give him a
100%.
nod. Yeah,
he's done well, hasn't he, to be the only man in your household?
Yes, yes. Yeah. Well, we got 2 rabbits that were both women as well. So
there you go. I love it. That's fabulous. And then, what drives you each day? So, how do you stay motivated within your role?
Staying motivated in my role, I would say it's just about striving to be better. I think there's a few elements that motivate me. Obviously, for some reason in me, I've got this thing that I always want to strive to be better. So that would be my initial answer. And then I think there's also things around doing something a bit different. So what motivates me is looking at, not necessarily every day, this can't happen every day, but every so often looking at what we're doing and how we can do something a bit more exciting. I think it's that excitement that's driving forward, keeps me really motivated. I'm quite a fidgety person. Yeah. So, in terms of wanting to improve things, and I get quite passionate about things. So if I'm passionate about something, I really want to go and get it done. Like the charity group, we were really passionate about that. That was something we really wanted to deliver.
Brilliant.
So yeah, that's the main driver for me, I'd say.
Fabulous. And I get the impression, because obviously we've met a few times, but you never say no either. I think you feel like you go out your comfort zone, don't you? I mean, we've asked you to be a part in some of the things that we've done in the business, stand there and up and talk about things in front of everyone that probably you haven't done before, but you absolutely are so motivating. And what you did for us when you stood up at our sustainability event was incredible, and we had some really good feedback about you, and it's an absolute credit. So yeah.
Thank you.
So have you faced moments where you've self-doubted yourself, or this imposter syndrome has come into play?
I definitely have faced moments of doubt. And I actually think people see imposter syndrome and doubt as a negative. And especially women will go, I doubt myself. Doubt is a good thing because it means you're questioning yourself, because your opposite to doubt is arrogance. And I think then you get hubris. And if you go back to Greek, I did classics at uni, most of the Greek heroes fail through the fact that they are too arrogant, so they think too much of themselves, and therefore that's how they fail. So I'm very much motivated to not be like that and to always doubt yourself. I would say always doubt yourself, because not in a way that is negative to yourself, but question yourself and say, is this the right thing? But don't see that doubt as a negative. It's actually a positive to you exploring that you're doing the right thing. Mm-hmm. But I think sometimes we slap a label on like imposter syndrome, which then becomes a negative. But I always like to think of anything that feels like a weakness, how's it a positive?
Yeah, absolutely.
And in that sense, I would say that being, if you doubt yourself, that's good. That means you're not arrogant enough to just go do something without thinking about it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think with this imposter syndrome, I think it kind of gives you confidence to kind of go on and achieve things, and also you build up your resilience within that kind of role or place where you are. I know I kind of came into my role that I definitely had a bit of imposter syndrome coming into a brand new organisation that I didn't really know a lot about, from facing 22 years in an organisation I knew everything about. But it's definitely got me out of my comfort zone. It's me as a person has definitely become stronger, and I think I think I'm a bit like you. You just want to, it makes you want to work harder and show that you can do it. So yeah.
I think imposter syndrome is a funny one, really, because as you say, it's being respectful as well. Like in the sense of going into a business, everyone's nervous, and I think this is the thing, especially when you're younger, that you probably don't realise is everyone's nervous going for an interview. Everyone's nervous standing up and giving a presentation. Everyone's nervous doing a one-to-one with a camera on you. There's no part of anyone who sits there and goes, this is normal for me. Yeah. And sometimes once you do that thing, you think, wow, I can do anything. Like you come out of it like, really, I can do anything.
Definitely.
And I think that's actually a really great feeling to have, when you thought you doubted yourself and then you go and do it, and it just boosts, like you say, it boosts yourself, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
I actually think I've tried to lean into that feeling rather than run from it. So if I'm doubting myself, why am I doubting myself? What is it I'm feeling? Rather than, oh no, I'm doubting myself, I shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I think it's seeing it, it's more of a check on yourself than anything. It's a bit like where something pops up on your computer and says, are you okay with this? Yes, I am okay with it. Yes, are you sure? Yes, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's just that doing that process in your head.
Brilliant. And I think that's a really valuable bit of advice you've just given there, because I think, 100%. I think we do all think that. And I think it is just learning to, it's fine to think like that. And I think us as women, we do talk about that a little bit more. We are like, I don't know, when I had this kind of imposter syndrome, I spoke to a lot of my friends about it, and they were like, we've all faced it. Yeah. It's fine. It's fine to feel like that. You're not going to come into a job and think, yep, I can smash this. I know everything. I know all the answers. So it's nice to actually talk to people as well about it and accept it, like you say. So brilliant. Okay, have you always felt supported by those around you, such as your friends and family?
Yes, I've always felt supported by my friends and family. I've got a really supportive family. I've got really supportive friends, and my partner's really supportive as well. So I think most of my challenge is around how I support them back with time. So, if my friends are being supportive, but I'm not going to see them that much, I always feel really bad about it.
Yeah. And
the same with family and stuff. So it's balancing that, isn't it? So they've always been really good, and especially my partner's always been very much, go off and do this, do that. I'm home late, especially through COVID. It was a challenge because I was at work for a lot of it. So, but yeah, I've definitely got a really supportive network around me, and I know I'm so fortunate for that, because there's a lot of people who don't have that.
Yeah, definitely. And it helps you grow as a person, as well as obviously within the business as well. I think it's really important, isn't it? Yeah. And do you feel like you get the support from your colleagues as well around you? And are you vice versa supportive with the colleagues, do you feel?
I get a lot of support within the workspace with maybe my sister. There's a lot there. I think sometimes it can be a challenge at the top if there's something that you can't necessarily share with everyone.
Yeah.
Not that we keep that many secrets, but sometimes things are commercially sensitive, or you're just working through an idea that you don't necessarily want to share at this point, because then it gets blown out of a sort of portion or whatever. So there's always, I'd say we have a really great team here. So I know I can pick up the phone and speak to our team and say, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? And I'll always get that back. And I hope, again, I don't want to say for definite, but I hope they feel supported by us as well.
Yeah.
And what we try and set up here, slightly off topic, but is that the signposting. So if people do have challenges, so we've trained everyone on mental health course, so they know if they recognise in someone some mental health challenges, they can signpost them.
Brilliant.
We train people around domestic abuse. We've got domestic abuse kind of advisors here that they're not there to necessarily solve the problem, but they're there to signpost and support. So I think we've tried to set up a supportive network around everyone here. And then things like training. One of the things I've always said at WoolCool is I want everyone to leave, well, not everyone to leave WoolCool, I want everyone to stay at WoolCool, but if they do leave, to leave in a better state. So they leave with some training, they leave with a degree, they leave with a forklift licence.
Brilliant.
That then when they go elsewhere, they can take that and go on to something better if they do leave, but they're not allowed to leave. But if they do leave, they can go on to something else.
Yeah, and that's great. And do you know what? I bet the colleagues that work for you, I bet they know that, and I bet you don't really see a lot of people leaving because of that culture that's in the business.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, yeah. Obviously, over the time, as with any business, people move on. But we've got people who've been with us for a long time, and I think that's probably testimony to that. But we always have to work at it. Going back to my point around one of the things motivating me is around making it better. Well, how do we make the experience of our team better? And we're not perfect. I think the thing is with any business, it's like a human. Like it changes. It's always changing. It's always got personalities. It has its moods. So it's about understanding how you can always improve things.
Yeah.
Knowing that isn't always going to be perfect, but how do you improve those fundamentals for people? Because you're at work for pretty much all your life, aren't you? And I kind of want people to feel like they've moved on. If they are here, that they've moved on in their career. And for some people, that's just coming and having a steady job. That's cool too.
Yeah.
But what do you want out of your job? Great. That's what we'll cater for then.
Brilliant.
So yeah.
I love that. So having family, friends, and being a leader, how do you like balance your personal life as well as your professional life? How do you like have that time?
I don't think I balance my personal life and my professional life in any way. No, I do and I don't. I think it depends on the time of year.
I mean, I've had emails off you at like 9:00 at night.
Yeah, well, this is it. Yeah. Good question. Well, the first thing is learning to set scheduled send on your emails so that people don't realise that. But no, I would say probably, I think being honest with yourself. And I think the main thing I've learned over the time is you need to start with yourself. So take time for yourself as the first and foremost.
Yeah.
Forget friends and family, because sometimes that noise in your head's so loud that you need to go take yourself off, even if it's for half an hour. And don't underestimate a bath. Don't underestimate. Don't underestimate. And when I say, people think, I need to go on holiday, I need to do this. No, just go and sit in your car somewhere for half an hour.
Or just go and sit in the bath.
Yeah, go sit in the bath, yeah. So there's that. And then I think with friends and family, I think it's just being, and I'm not perfect at this at all, but I try to do this, is communicating with them about, okay, I can't see you here, and booking ahead. So I've really tried in the last few years to book ahead with my friends, especially my friends, because they're all over the country. So not that I have many friends, but like I try to book ahead so that I know that weekend that's happening, so I don't book anything in.
Definitely.
And yeah.
And I always feel like true friends as well, like, and your family, they're very supportive, and they know we all have busy lives as well as they do as well. Yeah. So it's like, I suppose, booking them in the future, when that day comes, you really appreciate it, don't you, to have that time together. So I think we're all quite understanding, aren't we, in the world, that like.
Yeah, and I think there is, isn't there, where, and I don't know if you find this with your friends, is everyone's busy, and actually sometimes it's nice to get a text message and say, can we rearrange? Because you're like, yes, I'm going to go. I'm going to go.
I totally
no one
do.
really cares if you rearrange, do they?
No, not at all.
But I think as long as you're, the important things, and I always say to my friends, look, I might not be able to there all the time, but the important things, if you need me, I will be there. I'll drop anything if there's something really important, and hopefully they know that. But I think it's just that, like you say, planning ahead, communication, and most people are busy nowadays, aren't they?
Yeah, 100%.
There's no one sat at home twiddling their thumbs, I don't think.
No. Well, you've got the bonus that you don't need to worry about your family because you work with them, so you can see them all day.
Yeah. Just maybe ask my partner if she's happy that.
Yeah, exactly. She maybe needs to come and work for the business as well.
Yeah, maybe.
So, and how do you manage stress and avoid burnout whilst being resilient within the career?
So I think from a stress perspective, how I manage stress is exercise, and that's probably a cliche answer, isn't it? Exercise is a main one. Just even if it's going out for a walk. I think people always think, I've got to put in an hour and a half in the gym every day, and that works for some people. So go and do that if that's what you can do. But if you can do half an hour a week walking, do that first. Don't have this big schedule, because for me, because work is relatively pressurized, if I then put pressure on myself outside of work, I've never not got pressure. Yeah. So if I go, I'm going to go home, I'm going to do an hour and a half in the gym every time I go home, probably not going to do it. I'm going to feel pressured. Whereas if I say, well, I'll take my dog out, that's nice. I do go for a walk, and then I'll try and go to the gym every so often. Yeah. So exercise is a big one.
Definitely.
And just seeing friends, going doing stuff with friends and family and my partner, and spending time with my dog.
Yeah, perfect. Really good answers. And I think that, just going to the exercise one, I think this, even if sometimes you don't feel like getting up and going in the gym or going after work, I think it definitely does something. These endorphins definitely come out and you feel better after for doing it. So, and I don't know about you, but it's my kind of thinking space. So I go in the gym in the morning before the kids get up, and I kind of come into the house and I'm raring to go, and I'm like, right, do the homework and do this and do this. So it's definitely time to think as well. I think exercise is.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and I think the other thing with stress is people, this is me, don't want to speak for everyone, is you worry that you're stressed, and actually stress can also be a good thing, because it's around, stress can have a positive reaction to it as well. It's the way that you get up in the morning, it's something that drives you. Yeah. So it's about offsetting the negative of stress, but kind of harnessing the positive. Yeah. And I think that's where exercise comes in, because, you can have the positive of stress driving you through the day, but you can also then offset the negative, which is the physical impact of stress by, like you say, going up early and doing your run in the morning or whatever it is.
Absolutely. So even when you don't really want to do it, it's always good to
that's the best time to do it, though, especially if you're on like a bit of a schedule, because I always find if you do it on a, let's say for example, you're like, I don't want to do it. The day you do it when you don't want to do it, you'll always do it then from then on.
100%. I totally agree.
Apart from you're crazy getting up that early to do any kind of exercise.
Well, I kind of have to get up at that time, because then my husband likes to go in and do a gym session, and then we have the 3 kids that we have to sort before going to work. So we have a whole routine before we actually get to work.
You must be up at like 3 a.m.
Honestly, I know. This is why I'm a go bed early. I do. I'm not a late night out at all.
You're a 6 p.m.
Yeah, well, I would if I was allowed. I think going to bed before the kids is kind of not really acceptable, but I would do if it was.
I'll make a note to myself to make sure if I have kids that they end up in bed early, so I can go to bed early too.
Absolutely.
5 o'clock bedtime, that's it.
This is it. Exactly. Actually, when they come home from school, right straight to bed.
Forget your homework.
Exactly. So how do you define success, both personally and professionally?
I define success.
I mean, you're obviously doing it, so you're already...
It depends what you define success as, isn't it? I think there's a lot societally, money is the way people generally define success, and I guess it's a measure. For me, success has changed in my head since I was in my 20s to now, in that I look around and think for me success is more around your friends and family, and that's going to be really cheesy, but that if I can have a business that's still going, and I can have a family that are around me, and I still got my friends, and I still got my partner, and everyone's kind of happy and healthy, and all of that can kind of be in harmony, as much as that can be in harmony. Yeah. We all know that, you have the frogs out the bucket, don't you? But like, as much as that can be in harmony, that's more successful to me than being a millionaire. Yeah. Because I think that is harder to have, that harmony between all that, than it is to be. I'm not saying it's easy to be a millionaire, but it's harder because that's people relationships than the money. Yeah. So the money, there's ways people go and do that, and I respect people who can go and have that focus and earn that. That's a different mindset. But for me, success personally is around the people and my relationships. Yeah, brilliant. And professionally, I think again it comes down to not profit at all costs. So can we create a business that looks after its people and the environment as well as profitable? So just a short story is when I was younger, I used to say that I wouldn't. So the types of people that were held up as great leaders would generally be guys, and would generally be guys that were a bit mean. I'm not going to name any names, but they would be a bit mean. So the way they would do business would be very sharky and a bit snaky, and it would all be about beating the supplier and beating the customer, etc., etc. I didn't like that. It didn't sit well with me. So I always wanted to prove that you could kind of build something good without being, I don't know if I can swear.
Yeah, you can swear.
Without being a bit of an arse. Yeah. And I'm not saying I don't have an answer to that question now, but can you create a business that is creating something good, does something good for the community, does something good for the area, makes a profit still? Obviously, you need profit for business. I don't think anyone can shy away from that. No. But looks after its people, isn't perfect, but generally is trying to do the right thing. Can you have a good business that does that and still be successful as a business? Go back to the 80s, or, that says how old I am now, but go back to the 80s. The whole picture in the 80s and 90s was you're fired. And actually, no, that doesn't, like, to me, I'd like to prove that isn't the case. And there are, to be fair, there are a lot of great businesses, not like in the area as well as outside the area, but particularly in the area that are proving that. Yeah, 100%. Proving that it can happen. But I think for me, that's what success in the business will look like, is having all those elements.
Brilliant. And relationships play a big part on that. I know that you're very well thought of within the area, particularly when we go, and you are. And
don't know what people say.
Well, it's all good to me, absolutely. But I think that's just a testament to show that you are like, you go out and you speak to people and you want to help people within the community. So you're absolutely doing that throughout not just your business but other businesses as well. So I think that's really important. So yeah, definitely.
A little bit cheesy though is I always think, what would you want your obituary to be?
Yeah.
Like, where or who would you want at your funeral? This is really morbid, so in terms of sharing, like, what do you want your obituary to say? Like, they were rich and they were an idiot, or they were really nice and giving.
Absolutely.
Like, which one would you? And if you want to be a rich idiot, fine, that's the path. But don't try and claim that's not what you're trying to be.
Yeah.
Whereas I think for me, like, I'd like to have like people to think that I tried to do the right thing, you know, I tried to be a good
100%.
person. I'm just, you know, I don't always get it right, but, you know, I think it's nice to think that people think that your intentions are there.
Yeah.
Rather than like have one person at your funeral and like obituary that just says,
Yeah,
you know,
100%.
idiot. You know,
No.
don't want that. I'm sure people would say I was an idiot, but you know,
not
like,
at all, not at all.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to give you a big head at all, but when people say about you, like, oh, I'm going to see Josie today, blah, blah, they're like, oh, she's lovely. She's amazing. Do you know what I mean? That's the kind of, that's what you want. That's what you want people to say about you. So, yeah.
Well, success would be that continues as I get older.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
You'll have a
So
sellout. You'll have a sellout at your funeral.
Yeah. Well,
We shouldn't really joke about this, should we? So what is next for you?
what is next for me? So what's next for me is, I have to think about that for a minute.
I know, yeah.
That was really hard.
This is quite an open question. You can say anything on this, can't you? You might want to go on holiday next week.
I know, yeah, I've got my holiday now, so I'm actually going on holiday. I'm going to Scotland next week. So
Are you? Whereabouts in Scotland?
Going to Stirling, or towards like Loch Lomond.
Oh, Loch Lomond.
Yeah, it's my birthday. So.
See, my dad's got a house in, have you heard of Islay? Little Scotland called Islay. Well, he's very fond of whiskey, so he actually got a house in Islay. So that, but we go past Loch Lomond on the way to the ferry.
Oh, it's like near Isle of Skye.
I'm not sure. Without looking at the map, I have to go to Kinnicraig and get the ferry. Have you heard of Kinnicraig? No, yeah, maybe we'll take this discussion offline. We'll have a look at a map.
This is great. You can have this on at the chamber.
I know, yeah.
Yes, we're going there for my birthday, which is nice. So going, you know, we're
Lovely.
talking about exercises. I had a moment. Sorry, I'm going off topic a little bit. I'll tell this story.
It's okay.
So a few years ago, because when I turned, I can't remember what age it was. It was in my 30s.
This is showing your
moment.
age that you can't remember your age.
Yeah, no, I had a moment. I think it was when I was 35, and I was like, oh my God, I'm 35. And my partner said to me, what do you want to do for your birthday? And I was like, oh, I think I want to go for a really long walk. And bear in mind, at that point, I didn't walk that much. So I really want to go for a really long walk. And we used to go to Manifold Valley.
Oh, yeah.
I used to go to Manifold Valley loads when I was at the Horse Cave. So I want to go there. So we went and did like a 20 kilometre walk. Bear in mind, we were in trainers because we didn't have the kit, or like I was going to say all the gear, no idea, but no gear at all. So we went for a walk around there, and we did 20k, just like that. And
did you have blisters on your feet?
Actually, I didn't, and I was expecting my feet hurt. But yeah, so then every year now I've started doing. So we're going to go walking in Scotland.
I love that.
Yeah.
Have you got all the gear now though?
Yeah, some of it. Still no idea. Still end up in the wrong place. We should be going left here, not right. Okay.
I love that.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. So you're like touring the UK and
yeah. So we've slowly going higher because my grand's from my gran was born in Glasgow. Can't speak. So
Glasgow's beautiful.
I'm quite proud. I have some Scottish in me.
Yeah.
Which is the only exotic thing about me. When I did my DNA test, I'm literally English and Scottish, and a little bit of Welsh. That's it.
Love that.
But yeah, anyway. So sorry, your question.
So that is what is next.
What is next? So what is next?
Anything in the business? Is there anything that can you? Obviously, managing director. Is that kind of? Is that it, or would you like to be promoted in any way, or is there a way that you can be promoted in the business? Is that taking your mum's job?
President. I'm going to become president.
There you go.
Yeah, take my mum's job. I think probably what is next is just to continue. I know it's probably a bit of a cop-out answer, but it's probably just to continue on what we're doing with the same ethos. Because actually, as we grow, the ethos and the culture, it's managing that as you grow. So I think for us, we've got some ambitions around expansion plans. I'd love to move into, grow into a bigger building, and from just a kind of a business perspective is to grow the business further. We want to expand into other territories, so we want to expand into the US and into UAE.
Oh, brilliant.
So they're the two kind of areas we're looking at. We've already kind of expanded into the US, but UAE is quite a new one. So that's kind of our plans.
Brilliant.
So yeah, that's what you asked me what's next, and actually
that is quite big.
Forgot about that one.
Forgot about that.
Yeah.
We were all thinking about Scotland, weren't we?
Oh yeah, Scotland's way better than Dubai. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I might need to come and interview you when you're in Dubai.
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, actually, yeah, that sounds good. What we'll do is we'll if I think I'm going in a couple of weeks, so we'll book it in.
Yeah, brilliant. I'll have a word with Andy, see if we can get budget.
I'll tell you stories about it.
Yeah, that's it, exactly. I knew them stories were going to come in and are useful. Okay, so, and then just the final kind of question I want to just ask. So, as you know, just been talking about, I've got a 14-year-old daughter, Poppy. Yeah. Now, she's just facing her exams, and she's facing the challenge of her exams. What bit of advice would you give her if she was sitting here today?
For exams?
Yeah, just progressing in life. She's a bit nervous and...
So I shouldn't tell her that exams don't matter, should I?
No, not really.
No.
They absolutely do, Poppy.
Do really well in your exams. So what advice would I give to Poppy? The advice I give to Poppy would be do as well as you can at your exams. They're a stepping stone to the next ones. If you don't do as well as you think you're going to do, there's a reason for it. And ultimately, as long as it takes you to the next stage or where you want to be, then, and the better you do, the more options you have. So and actually equally, if you tank them, you can always go again.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that isn't what you want to do, because you want to be out of school as soon as possible, don't you?
Yeah.
But ultimately, do as best you can, and that's as well as you can do. Don't sweat beyond that.
That's it. No added pressure, as long as do the best you can. That's really good advice, and I will show her this, and hopefully she'll take that on board.
And I would also say, I've had, just as off topic slightly, I've had friends who've tanked their exams and are doing some exceptional things right now. So maybe don't tell her this bit, but actually, I think exams are really important to get to the next stage.
Yeah.
But they're not the be all on it. And this is the problem, isn't it? You want your kid to do as best as they can do, and you want to inspire them to do that, but you also don't want to have that much pressure. But at the same time, the pressure is good because it puts you in stead for the future life. So it's such a balance, and I respect any.
I totally
I have
agree.
to say though, having not had kids yet, I respect anyone who is working and managing a family. I cannot, thinking about having kids. I'd love to have kids, but I cannot imagine doing all that and having kids as well.
Yeah.
Massive respect to anyone who's doing it.
Well, honestly, I'm still learning as being a parent. Like I say, I've got 3 children. I'm questioning myself constantly. Am I doing the right thing? Am I giving the best bit of advice? It's just a learning journey. Yeah. But I think that's just life as a whole, isn't it? But great. Oh, well, honestly, that was honestly really brilliant, and it's been so nice talking to you and finding all about the what you're up to in the business and how you've become where you are today. So really, really inspiring. So thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you for having me. It's been lovely, and I'm sure you're smashing it as a mum. So keep it up.
Thank you, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks in Dubai.
Yes, exactly.